Okay, let's unpack this. I want you to close your eyes for a second. Imagine a world that feels like it's perpetually stuck in the gloomiest, wettest, just most miserable Tuesday in November you've ever
Oh,
experienced.
wow. That's a vivid picture.
Right. The sun isn't just hidden. It feels like a rumor that old people whisper about. The air is thick, it's damp, it smells like ozone and fear. And on the horizon, just dominating everything, is this magical barrier called the fulcrum.
Which is terrifying.
Exactly. It's not some shiny, happy force field. It's a terrifying horizontal tornado made of sand, storm clouds, and ancient rotting energy. And here's the kicker. It's starting to fail.
It is a setting that just grabs you by the throat immediately. Today we're diving deep into Crown of War and Shadow. That's book one of one, Kingdoms of the Compass by J.R. Ward. And, Atmospheric doesn't even begin to cover it.
No, not at all.
Ward drops us right into the middle of a place called Anathos. Specifically, this tiny, muddy village called Greensward, where the tension is so high you could practically cut it with a knife. Our mission today is to look at how Ward completely flips the chosen one trope on its head, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what we're looking at.
Yeah.
Because when I say the barrier is failing, I don't mean it's flickering like a bad light bulb. I mean it's churning. It's spitting out what the locals call black snow.
Which is basically ash and bad vibes.
Right. Ash, bad vibes, and every once in a while it just spits out a demon. So you have this constant looming threat of annihilation hanging over everyone's head.
Which creates such a fascinating psychological backdrop for the story. This isn't, a high fantasy where everyone is singing songs in a tavern.
Definitely not.
This is a world in severe decline. The Great Containment, which is the lore behind the Fulcrum, is breaking down. Centuries ago, a figure known as the Savior created this barrier to trap an entity called the Dark King. But now people can actually see black bands of corruption weaving through the energy field. The prison is literally rotting.
And in the middle of this apocalyptic nightmare, we meet our protagonist, Sorrel. Now, usually in these kinds of stories, your hero is a hidden princess or a farm boy with a massive destiny.
Or a spunky warrior in training.
Exactly. But Sorrel, she is none of those things. She is living under the stairs of a pub called the Gauntlet. She's what they call a scur.
Scur. It's such a visceral word, isn't it?
It really is.
It sounds like scurry or cur. It denotes the absolute bottom of the social hierarchy. She has no rights, no family, and she's treated like vermin. She lives in the cupboard, essentially.
Yeah, under the stairs. Very Harry Potter, but way darker.
Much darker. But the thing that really defines her visually and thematically is the pox cloak.
Oh, I was so intrigued by this detail. She walks around wearing this heavy, ugly cloak, and she tells everyone she had the pox, which is like a highly contagious plague. And she does this just so they'll leave her alone. She doesn't actually have the disease, right?
Yeah. No, she's physically completely healthy, but she uses the pop's cloak as a shield. It's a brilliant, if heartbreaking, survival strategy.
It really is.
In a world that's just so hostile to her, she weaponizes their fear of disease to buy herself some space.
Yeah,
If people think you're contagious, they won't touch you. They won't look at you too closely.
right.
And for Sorrel, hide isn't just a strategy, it's a mantra.
It's basically etched into her psyche. There's this internal monologue she has where a voice in her head is constantly whispering, hide, hide, hide. But here's where it gets really interesting. The villagers despise her. They literally spit on her shadow. But, and this is the irony, they also desperately need her.
Because she has a gift.
Exactly. Or, if you ask the local priest, a curse.
This is the hook that pulls you in. Sorrel has heterochromia. One pale eye, one dark eye. And in this world, that is the mark of a very specific kind of magic.
And it's an intense magic.
Oh, absolutely. When she makes skin-to-skin contact with someone or even locks eyes with them for too long, she sees the moment of their death.
And we aren't talking about a vague, oh, you'll die in 50 years prediction. We're talking about a visceral, sensory experience. She feels it. She sees the blood, the environment. She experiences it.
It's traumatic every single time.
Yeah. She experiences the pain, the fear, that final heartbeat. It is a massive burden for anyone to carry, let alone an outcast living under a staircase. But what makes Sorrel a hero right from page one is how she uses it.
Right. She doesn't use it to blackmail people?
No, not at all. Or scare them. She uses it to help.
Yeah.
She's basically a hospice nurse in a world that treats her like a witch.
That's a great way to put it.
She mixes these herbs to create painless elixirs for the dying. There's this one scene early on that really wrecked me. She's called to help a woman named Ellie.
The farrier's wife. It is a brutal, grounding scene. Ellie is dying in childbirth. Her husband, the farrier, is this massive brute of a man who doesn't care about his wife at all.
He just wants a kid.
Yeah. He only cares about getting a son. So Sorrel is there, in the blood and the muck, and she touches Ellie. And she sees that both the mother and the baby are going to die in agony.
And she has to make the call. She administers the herbs to give them a painless passing. It's euthanasia, essentially. She grants them mercy. But when she tells the husband that the baby didn't make it, he goes ballistic.
He does.
He calls her a murderer. He spits on her. It's awful.
It perfectly illustrates the central conflict of her life. She is the healer of the village. She takes on the burden of their pain so they don't have to suffer, but instead of gratitude, she gets hatred.
Yeah.
They need her to clean up the mess of death, but they hate her for reminding them of it. It sets up this theme of duality that Ward explores throughout the whole book, the line between healing and killing, between being a monster and being a savior.
So the tension in the village is already at a boiling point. The fulcrum is churning black snow, and then things start getting weird with the livestock. The cows, they start showing up slaughtered. And I don't mean wolves got them. I mean torn apart, inside out. It's gruesome.
And not just random slaughter, right? They're found in specific cardinal directions.
Oh, right.
First one in the north field, then the east, now the south. It's highly ritualistic. It suggests intelligence behind the violence.
And the milkman, Mr. Cavendish, who is usually a pretty chill guy, bursts into the pub screaming that the Dark King is returning. The mob mentality just takes over in about 3 seconds flat.
They need a scapegoat.
They do. And who is the easiest target? The girl in the pox cloak who sees death.
It is a classic witch hunt. They decide that Sorrel's death magic is somehow connected to the barrier failing. They think she's weakening the wall. They form a mob, pitchforks and all, and they chase her.
She runs toward the fulcrum, which is terrifying in itself, but she literally has nowhere else to go. And just as the mob is closing in, and a demon, a literal shadowy hand, reaches out of the sand to grab her, we get a rescue.
But not just any rescue.
No, it is the most stereotypical high fantasy rescue you can imagine.
Enter Prince Julian of Prosperitas, the Golden Knight.
He is literally glowing. He's riding a white stallion. He's wearing golden armor. He has perfect hair. He swings a golden sword and chops the demon in half. He looks at Sorrel and offers her his hand.
It's so cinematic.
It is.
Oh.
This is the moment in the movie where the music swells, the heroine swoons, and she hops on the horse to live happily ever after.
But Ward is way smarter than that. And Sorrel is definitely smarter than that. She looks at him, and she looks at the mob, and she realizes something crucial.
Yeah, Julian isn't just saving her out of the goodness of his heart.
Exactly. He knows who she is. He knows about the death site. He admits it. He says he needs her to come to his court to help someone he cares about who is dying.
He wants to use her trauma as a diagnostic tool.
It's a completely transactional rescue, and Sorrel realizes that if she goes with him, the mob won't stop. They'll attack him too. And despite everything, she doesn't want to be the reason this quote-unquote hero gets hurt.
Which is so noble of her, honestly.
It is. So in a move that completely subverts the damsel in distress trope, she refuses. She runs away from the Golden Knight.
I love that. She chooses the terrifying demon-infested woods over the conditional safety of the prince. She's like, nope, I'm not owing you anything.
Yeah.
She flees into the trees. And that is where she runs into the other guy.
The foil to the Golden Knight, the mercenary.
Merc. If Julian is the sun, Merc is a black hole. He is massive, scarred, wears battered black leather, and has a major attitude problem.
He refuses to even give his real name. He just says, my name is my job.
My name is my job. It creates such a stark contrast. Julian was polite, beautiful, and totally condescending. Merc is rude, ugly well, by conventional standards, with all his scars, and brutally honest.
He saves her from the stragglers of the mob, but he immediately demands payment. He's like, what do you have?
It's gritty. It feels real.
Yeah.
But here's the thing that really struck me. When Julian looked at her, he saw a tool. When Merc looks at her, the dynamic is totally different.
There's this electric tension.
Right. He looks at the pox cloak, and he doesn't flinch. He seemed to actually see the woman underneath it.
He challenges her. He doesn't treat her like she's fragile. There's a moment where he basically says, keep up or I'll drag you.
Yeah, drag you by the hair, I think.
Right. It's not chivalrous, but it acknowledges her agency. He expects her to be capable. And for Sorrel, who has been treated like a literal contagion her whole life, being treated like an annoyance is actually a step up.
It's the competence porn appeal.
Yeah.
We love a character who is just really good at violence and doesn't apologize for it. But before they can get out of Dodge, they have to make a pit stop. Sorrel needs her stuff from the pub. And this leads to the first big plot twist.
The mentor reveal. Mr. Lewis, the innkeeper.
Yeah.
Up until now, we thought he was just her grumpy boss who let her sleep under the stairs in exchange for scrubbing floors. But when she bursts in to get her bag, he completely drops the act.
He reveals he hasn't just been exploiting her, he's been hiding her, protecting her. He tells her that her lineage isn't what she thought. She isn't just a random orphan.
She is the daughter of the Savior.
Which is huge.
The Savior being the legendary woman who created the Fulcrum centuries ago. This puts Sorrel squarely in the Chosen One lineage. And Mr. Lewis hands her the items he's been guarding for her. The MacGuffins of the story, if you will.
First, the compass. And this isn't your Boy Scout compass. It's gold, it's heavy, and it seems almost alive. It spins, it heats up in her hand, and it projects a holographic 3D map of Anathos.
It's beautiful imagery.
It is, and it doesn't point north.
No, it points to destiny. It points to exactly where she needs to go. And right now, it is pointing relentlessly south.
And the second item is the crown. The crown of war and shadow.
Let's talk about the design of this object for a second. It is not a delicate tiara.
No, definitely not.
It is made of black crystal. It's jagged, sharp, and detailed with carvings of armies and slaughter. It radiates power, but not necessarily good power.
If someone hands me a crown made of black crystal called War and Shadow, I am immediately suspicious.
Rightfully so.
But Mr. Lewis gives her the prophecy. He says she must take this crown to the warrior queen, who sees no one in the kingdom of the south. If she does that, the queen will unite the kingdoms, use the crown, and defeat the Dark King.
It is a very standard fantasy quest setup. Take the artifact to the ruler, save the world. Sorrel barely believes it. She thinks she's just a barmaid.
Yeah.
But the village is literally burning down outside. The mob has set fire to the gauntlet, so she has no choice. She takes the items, she grabs Merc, and she pays him to get her out.
Originally, she just wants to go to the Badlands. She wants to find an outpost and hide. She's still listening to that voice in her head. But the compass has other ideas.
It keeps pulling them south.
Right. And so the impossible journey begins.
And this is where the world building really shines. They aren't walking through a generic forest. They're traveling through a world that is completely unraveling. They enter the Badlands, which is a lawless area, and they find a settlement that has been burned to the ground.
Sorrel looks at the ruins and says, demons. But Merc, being the expert on violence, shakes his head. He points out the way the fires were set, the lack of sulfur smell. He says, no, people did this.
That is such a critical detail. The threat isn't just the supernatural monsters leaking out of the Fulcrum. It's the breakdown of human society.
Fear is making monsters of men.
Exactly. People are burning their neighbors' homes to purify the land or just out of blind panic. It foreshadows that the quote-unquote good kingdoms might not be so good after all.
And then they hit the first major physical obstacle on the road, the Crystal Gate. This is a massive translucent barrier that blocks the only road south. It has stood for centuries. Armies have tried to break it and failed. It is supposed to be totally impenetrable.
And Merc just breaks it.
He takes that massive broadsword of his, he grunts, he swings and smash. The gate shatters.
Now, from a physics standpoint, that is impossible. From a magic standpoint, that is impossible for a human. Sorrel is shocked. She asks him how he did it. He just shrugs and says it was old and brittle.
Which is a lie.
Yeah, a blatant lie. But it's our first real clue that Merc is not just a guy who does a lot of push-ups. He possesses supernatural strength. He is something much more than human.
Sorrel is suspicious.
Yeah.
But they don't have time to argue because they are entering the Red Forest. And if you thought the Badlands were bad, the Red Forest is worse. The trees are red, the ground is hot, there are fire holes that open up under your feet. It's a literal hellscape.
And amidst this environmental horror, Sorrel keeps seeing a symbol painted on rocks and trees. An S and a P intertwined. It looks like graffiti.
Yeah, it feels like a gang sign. Sorrel is trying to figure it out. Is it a warning? Is it a marker? Later in the woods, they encounter the Sooths, these creepy blind oracles who live in the forest.
Yeah.
And they translate it.
Shadway, possessed tricks.
Which means?
Possessed of the Shadow One. This is the moment the horror element really ramps up. It reveals that the villagers, the cattle, the people burning down settlements, they weren't just scared, they were infected.
Wow.
The Dark King isn't just sitting in his prison waiting to escape. He is leaking his consciousness out. He's possessing living beings.
It turns the story into a body snatcher narrative. You can't trust anyone because they might be a puppet for the Dark King. It raises the stakes immensely. It's not just a physical invasion, it's a spiritual infection.
And while they're navigating this nightmare fighting off skystalkers, which are these terrifying dragon-bird hybrids, the relationship between Sorrel and Merc is really deepening. It's a slow burn, fueled by adrenaline. But have you noticed how Merc acts about the quest itself?
Oh, he hates it.
Hmm.
He is constantly trying to derail it.
Yeah.
He keeps saying, Sorrel, don't go south, let's go north. I know a cabin. It's hidden. We can be safe there.
At first, you think he's just being protective, or maybe he's just lazy and doesn't want to fight a war. But looking back, the desperation in his voice is palpable. He is terrified.
Yeah, you can feel it.
Not of the monsters, but of where the compass is leading her. He is trying to save her from her destiny.
It's almost sweet in a grumpy, possessive way. He wants to lock her away in a tower, but to keep her safe, not to keep her prisoner. But Sorrel is stubborn. She feels the weight of the prophecy. She has to find the queen.
So they push on. They finally reach the border of the Kingdom of the South. They break through another barrier. Merc handles that again, naturally. And they're immediately surrounded by the Queen's Guard. They're captured, bound, and dragged to the palace.
And we finally get to meet the warrior queen, who sees no one. They're thrown into the throne room. And sure enough, the queen is there, but she's sitting on a throne high up on the wall behind a thick mesh screen. She is literally seeing no one. She is completely isolated.
Sorrel, being the observant survivor she is, notices a detail. There's a mural behind the throne depicting the queen in her glory days. In the painting, the queen is wearing the crown of war in shadow, the very crown Sorrel has in her backpack.
Right.
But the painting also shows a massive ruby set into the finial of the throne.
And Sorrel looks at the real throne, and the ruby is missing. It's an empty socket. She thinks, video game logic. I need to find the missing quest item to unlock the queen's help.
It's a completely logical deduction. So she escapes the guards and uses the compass to locate this missing ruby. It leads them to the ruins of an ancient city nearby.
And we have to talk about the spiders.
We must.
This isn't just a few cobwebs in a basement. This is full-on Indiana Jones meets Lord of the Rings. The ruins are infested with giant arachnids, spiders the size of ponies. It is a heist sequence. Sorrel and Merc have to move silently, dodge webs, and fight these monstrosities to get to the ruby.
It is a high-octane action sequence, but it also solidifies their partnership. They fight back to back. They truly trust each other with their lives now. They retrieve the ruby, battered and bloody, and they rush back to the palace.
Sorrel bursts into the throne room. She presents the ruby to the queen. She pulls out the crown of war in shadow. She says, I've returned your heart. I have brought you the crown. Now summon your armies and let's go save the world.
And the queen says, no, I literally gasped. I couldn't believe it. The queen takes the ruby. She's happy to have her jewelry back, but she looks at the crown and says, I don't want that. She looks at Sorrel and says, I am not sending my armies north. My priority is my people here. We are staying behind our walls.
It's the great anticlimax. The adult in the room refuses to help. The prophecy, or at least Sorrel's interpretation of it, has failed. The queen is an isolationist. She rejects the call to adventure entirely.
It forces Sorrel to learn a really harsh lesson. The institutions are not coming to save you.
No.
The legends might be wrong. She is left holding the tool, the crown, but she has no warrior to wear it.
The queen basically kicks them out. She's like, get out of my kingdom and I'll execute you. So Sorrel and Merc are back on the road, heading north. Sorrel is devastated. She decides her only option is to go find Prince Julian in Prosperitas. Maybe the Golden Knight will help, even if he is a bit of a tool.
But as they travel, the compass starts acting up again. It spins wildly, and then it locks onto a new direction. It points them not to Prosperitas, but straight to the altar. Straight back to the fulcrum.
The center of the danger. And this is where the House of Cards collapses. Merc realizes where they're going. He stops walking. He gets physical, grabbing her arm. He said, I can't let you go there.
Sorrel fights him. She demands to know why, and he finally confesses, I can't let you go there because that is where I was sent to take you.
The betrayal. Merc isn't just a mercenary. He admits it. He is a demon.
Specifically, he's an elite agent of the Dark King. He was birthed from the fulcrum. His mission, given to him by the king himself, was to find the girl and bring her home.
My jaw hit the floor. The guy she has been falling for, the guy who saved her life a dozen times, is literally a monster working for the ultimate evil. But, and this is the heartbreaking part, if his mission was to bring her to the fulcrum, why was he trying to take her north? Why was he trying to hide her?
Because he fell in love with her. He developed a soul or something like it. He was defying his programming. He was defying his god to keep her safe. He knew that if he brought her to the fulcrum, she would be lost.
It creates this tragic, impossible conflict. He is a monster who learned to love, but his very nature makes him her enemy. But that's not even the biggest reveal. Merc looks at her and tells her why the Dark King wants her.
Sorrel isn't just the daughter of the Savior, she is the daughter of the Dark King.
Wait, let's pause and let that sink in. Her mother, the Savior, didn't just trap the Dark King. She had a child with him. Sorrel is half savior, half demon god.
This recontextualizes absolutely everything. Her curse, the ability to see death, that isn't random magic. That is her father's power manifesting in her. She is a creature of death.
And that voice in her head, the one that always whispered, hide.
Exactly. She thought it was fear. She thought she was a coward. But it wasn't fear, it was instinct. It was a protective mechanism trying to keep her safe from herself, from the truth of her lineage. If she reveals herself, she risks becoming the very thing the world fears.
This identity crisis is the core of the book. Sorrel realizes she has been suppressing her true nature, her shadow self, her whole life. She has felt like a monster because, in a way, she is a monster.
And this leads us to the climax at the altar. Sorrel is reeling. She feels utterly betrayed by Merc. She rejects him. She pushes him away. She decides that if she is the daughter of the king, she needs to face him. She walks into the fulcrum alone.
The barrier is basically gone at this point. She walks right into the storm, and she meets her father, the Dark King. And he is terrifying, yes, but he's also charismatic. He's manipulative.
He plays the I'm your real family card. He tells her that her mother stole her away. He tells her, look at the world, Sorrel. They hate you. They made you live under stairs. They spit on you. But I love you. You are my daughter. You belong here.
That is such a powerful temptation. For a girl who has been starved of affection her entire life, that offer of acceptance is intoxicating. He offers her dominion. He says, merge with me. Let us combine our power, and we will rule this world.
And he shows her his army, millions of possessed souls stretching out as far as the eye can see. He says, you cannot win. Join me.
It seems hopeless. But Sorrel, she doesn't fold. She gets angry. She realizes that merging with him means losing herself. It means becoming a puppet. So she fights back.
She embraces the duality. She stops trying to be just the Savior's daughter. She taps into that dark blood. She summons black fire, her father's fire.
It's an epic battle. She is blasting black fire, screaming at her dad, but she is just one girl against a god. She's overpowered. She's being crushed. The Dark King is about to consume her.
And then a shadow moves. Merc comes back.
The redemption arc. Merc returns to the fulcrum.
This is significant because the Dark King made him. The king can unmake him with a thought. Merc knows it's a suicide mission, but he returns to fight by her side anyway.
It proves that his love for her is stronger than his programming. Two sides of the same coin. They fight together, back to back, just like with the spiders. But even together, they're losing. The Dark King knocks them down. He is about to deliver the killing blow.
And that is when the ground starts to shake, and we hear horns.
The cavalry arrives. Prince Julian and the entire army of Prosperitas come charging over the ridge.
And this is a brilliant callback to a scene we skipped over earlier. Back in the woods, Sorrel had promised Julian a favor. She had leveraged his need for her death sight. She told him, I will help your dying father, but you must bring your army to the altar at this specific time.
She played the long game. She knew the prophecy about the Southern Queen was shaky, so she arranged a backup plan. She manipulated the prince to ensure the army would be there. That is strategic brilliance.
But even with the army, they are in trouble. The soldiers are terrified. The Dark King is mocking them. They need a leader. And Sorrel is standing there, holding the crown of war and shadow. The crown the queen rejected.
And she has this aha moment. She remembers the prophecy.
Yeah.
The warrior queen who sees no one.
She realizes it wasn't about the Queen of the South sitting behind a screen. It was a riddle, who has been unseen by society her whole life, who hid under a pox cloak, who is invisible.
It's Sorrel. She is the warrior queen who sees no one.
She picks up the crown, she puts it on, and the transformation is immediate. Because she has the blood of the Savior and the blood of the Dark King, the crown responds to her. It locks onto her.
The description here is wild. Shadows and light swirl around her. She grows in stature, her eyes glow. She becomes this terrifying, majestic figure. She unites the magical currents of the world.
The armies of the North Julian soldiers stop in their tracks. They see her, and they instinctively bow. Even the demons hesitate. She completely commands the battlefield.
She points at the Dark King and orders the attack. She isn't hiding anymore. She stands there, half monster, half savior, and she leads the charge.
And together, Sorrel, Merc, and the army, they drive the Dark King back. They use the power of the crown to force him back into the fissure and reseal the fulcrum.
It's a victory. The storm clears. The sun actually comes out for the first time in the book.
But the dynamic has changed forever. Sorrel accepts her role. She is the leader now. She will unite the north, south, east, and west.
And Merc, he stays right by her side. He isn't the hero who saves her. He is her compass.
It is a beautiful resolution. He supports her. And the theme of the ending is summarized in the phrase, always forward, never back.
It's about acceptance. Sorrel had to stop hiding from the world, but more importantly, she had to stop hiding from her own nature. She had to accept that she has darkness inside her to become the leader she needed to be.
Precisely. You cannot defeat the dark if you deny it exists within you. You have to integrate it.
And this is just book one. The Dark King is beaten back, but he's not dead. The war has just begun. The kingdoms of the compass are just starting to align.
Indeed. The board is set for a much larger conflict, but the most important piece, Sorrel, has found her place on it.
You know, it makes you think. What if the compass didn't point south for the queen at all? What if it pointed south just to teach Sorrel she didn't need the queen? The journey itself was the actual mechanism to unlock her independence. The tool wasn't meant to be handed off. It was meant to temper her.
That is a brilliant way to look at it. The journey is the destination.
So if you want to read about viscerally terrifying sand tornadoes, giant spiders, and a romance that is literally hell-bent on destruction, you have to pick up Crown of War and Shadow.
It's a remarkable subversion of fantasy tropes, anchored by a truly complex heroine.
And hey, keep your compass close. You never know where it might point you. Thanks for joining our deep dive today.
Always a pleasure.
Catch you on the next wave.